Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Today, I am talking with Jennifer Stapleton. She is the founding partner of Fire & Bliss, a communications and marketing firm serving philanthropies and nonprofits. She's a promoter, advocate, communication strategist, business owner, and artist. This mix of left brain and right brain thinking helps her craft simultaneously creative and strategic marketing and communications plans. She's helped advocacy organizations achieve major legislation and policy changes at the national, state, and local levels, helped nonprofits achieve their missions, landed hundreds of stories in major U.S. publications, and helped mission-driven business owners win new clients and contracts. Welcome, Jennifer. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, Chuck. It's really good to be here with you.
Sometime we'll do an outtake thing, and we'll let people know that it actually took me like 7 takes to get through that.
Yeah, definitely to have a bloopers reel.
Life is messy, isn't it?
It is sometimes.
All right, it's good to have you on, and we're going to talk about how to clean up some of the mess. Today, we're going to talk about the concept of serve, don't sell. This is the fundamental contact that runs through my new book, Sell Less, Earn More. It was actually the name of the book for a while, and then the publisher did some marketing guru stuff and found out that Sell Less, Earn More would sell a few more books, but it's still the major concept in the book. It's the core of everything we do there. And then, as you know, we have a training program we've been doing for almost 20 years now, and it's called Fast Track, and this is the core of that. Serve, don't sell. So give me just your view right out of the gate. What does it mean for you when you hear serve, don't sell? And how did that land for you?
Sure. So, Chuck, you and I have worked together for a while, and often when you're leading a course, you'll ask for what's called a blinding flash of the obvious, right? The thing that you knew it, but it came up in our time together, and it's like, oh, I need to take this with me. And I think that's what serve, don't sell means to me. It is a blinding flash of the obvious. So Fire & Bliss, we're a values-based company. We were founded on 2 very core values of racial justice and LGBTQ plus liberation. And when we first started in business about 5 years ago, we were kind of like every new business owner. We wanted clients.
Yeah.
And
who doesn't, right?
Who doesn't, right? And if somebody came to me and said, Jennifer, can you do this? I would say, yes, I sure can.
Oh boy, I know where this is going.
Because I just have enough expertise that pretty much anything I can figure out how to do that for you if you need that done. But it was selling and it was not serving, meaning we would respond to whatever market request there was and say, sure, we can do that. And we've really flipped that on its head in the past few years. We've gotten really clear about the types of clients we serve, philanthropy and nonprofits, and we've gotten very clear about what we can do for them. And so now, if I'm having a conversation with somebody about should we work together or not, I'm really listening for how can I serve this person? And it very well may be by them not hiring us.
Yeah.
Because if they're calling and asking for accounting services, that's not what we do. And so if I want to serve them, I should put them in touch with an accounting service. Or even if they're asking for something in the field of marketing and communications, but it's not really our expertise, and I know that there's a firm that can do that less expensively or better than we can, then I should just refer them because we have a specialty and we have a client, and that's who we want to work with. It makes our company happier, right? Because the people that work with us know what we're working on and what we're doing. And it certainly comes out better for the client, for us to not be learning on their dime how to do that thing they asked for.
And that's so important what you just said there. This comes out better. This works out better for the client. That's the whole concept behind this. What if we actually did what was in the best interests of the people who are coming to us for help? I have this very woo-woo version of business. I say all business, all good business. Let me be very clear. all good business is founded on love. And I can get away with that because my definition of love, it's more of a description of what love does. Love always seeks the long-term best interest of the one being loved. What if we actually did that with clients? Hey, what do you actually need? Not even what do you want, because sometimes you want me and I know you don't need me and we're going to get in trouble down the road. You're going to be mad at me after you spend all that money. What if we actually did that? That's really fundamental. And all of us would give that lip service. All would say, oh, yeah, that's great. Let's do that. It's wonderful. But what if we really did it? And we actually sent somebody to what we used to think of as our competitors, because we could give them 75% of what they want, but the competitor, who's no longer my competitor, could give them 100. And then they do that for us. So I love that you said that.
There's two things in that, Chuck, right? So one, you and I both share some thoughts that people might see as outside of the mainstream, but actually turn out to be very, very true when they're
I call those things, people would say we're counterintuitive. We're not. We're counter logical. We're very intuitive. These are good
incredibly
things,
intuitive, right?
And so it makes sense logically sometimes.
That's why the serve don't sell, because I believe, that what you put into the universe comes back to you. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want vendors who are selling me services that aren't really what they do. It just sounds like maybe what I wanted. And so, that's going to have a negative effect on me and my business. I think me trying to win business that I don't have any business being in has a negative effect on me and my business. But then there's also there is a very mainstream thought about it. You remember that movie Miracle on 34th Street?
Yeah.
Where Santa was like, can't get this at Macy's, but you can get it at Kimball's. And suddenly all the goodwill that comes to you because the person you're on the phone with, that's then who ends up referring you to the people that you really can serve, or calling you back when they really do need your services, because they get that you're an upfront partner that's actually working in their best interest.
And what you just nailed there is part of what we want as a result of people getting this concept of serve, don't sell. You work in the marketing space. I was in that marketing space for 13 years, had a few companies in that space. And I learned that for small businesses, especially, your brand is what people emotionally react to when they hear your name or the name of your company. Hey, what do you think of Chuck Blakeman? And it's the emotional reaction that someone has. That is your brand. And that's going to be very different if you have a lifestyle of serve, don't sell, and actually putting their best interest first. And guess what? None of us made this stuff up, and either did Zig Ziglar, but he said it in a way 30 or 40 years ago that a lot of us remember. Number one, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. But number two, I think it was him or Bob Burg said, you get what you want when you help everybody else. If you get everybody else to their goals, you'll get what you want. And that's really true. And sometimes it's the long view, but it's a much better view, because in the long view, then you can sleep. We've always seen people prosper, make more money, and have more clients and grow faster because they serve instead of selling.
Yeah. There's a theory of circulation, if you know this theory, right? But I heard this story the other day and it really resonated with me. There was this man and he was standing beside a fireplace and he was just cold and he was mad. And somebody came along and said, why are you not putting fire in the fireplace? And he said, why would I give it any wood? It hasn't done anything for me. And so, sometimes you give not in order to receive, but because you gave, you receive. And so if you can really give in that generous spirit, then you receive.
Well, that's beautiful. And when you said that, it reminded me, you probably have dozens of stories like this once as well. I met with a woman once. We were going to get into whether I could help her or not. And she looked at her phone and kind of got all verklempt. And I said, what's going on? She said, it's our 20th anniversary tonight. And we just lost our babysitter. And it's 2 hours from now. We have our reservation. And we were just getting into our meeting. And if I'm serving her, I'm asking myself, what does she need? Mm-hmm. Well, she did not need me to go through my dog and pony show. Mm-hmm. That's not what she needed. She needed a babysitter. Right. So we got on the phone to my wife and a couple other people. It took us like 25 minutes and we found her a babysitter and we got that thing fixed. Well, by that time we got 20 minutes left and it just doesn't make sense to get into the things. I never saw that woman again. A year later, I kid you not, I got a phone call from someone, a nurse who was starting this amazing travel service with nurses. And she said, hey, my sister said, you might be able to help me. My business is growing like crazy and I'm not a business person. Can you help me? And that person was that woman's sister. And I made lots of money off of that person for a significant period of time. It doesn't always happen that clearly, but you talk about the theory of circulation. I didn't have that fancy term for it when I wrote the book. So now we'll have to wait till the second edition for that. But I appreciate that. That's really what it is, isn't it? It's just, if we just put other people first, you'll get to your goals. You'll be okay. But
Absolutely.
what keeps us from doing that? Again, that makes logical sense up here in our brains. Yeah, cognitively, that sounds good. Why don't we do that more often? Why do we default to, well, yeah, this may not be the best, but I'll make some money today?
Fear. It's just, do you want to run your business from fear?
Yeah.
Or do you want to run your business from love and service? And when you run your business from fear, you make fear-based short-term decisions. I'm going to get this client. I don't care. I'm going to twist their arm. I'm going to bend myself into a pretzel. We're going to get some money in the bank this month. And if you run your business that way, you will always be miserable.
Yeah, you'll stay in that theory of circulation.
You'll stay in that theory of circulation. You could get some money in your bank.
Yeah.
And if your only goal in life is to get some money in your bank, there are less than honorable ways to do that. But it's really about your life being a whole cloth and acting in one way the same way you would, acting in one zone the way you would act in another zone, the way you would act in another zone. And do you want to live in fear or do you want to live in abundance? And I'm more in the abundance camp.
Yeah, same here. You either live in a world of abundance or you live in a world of scarcity, and whichever one you choose affects every decision you make. You choose abundance. When you said fear and then you followed it up with short-term decision making, it reminded me that I often say we're still hunting mastodons in our head. The lizard brain, the amygdala, that part that creates fear. It's all about short-term. How do I make it through the next 3 minutes?
Yep.
And I get that.
And when we have bills due next month, and how are they going to get paid? And
right.
I mean, I get it. I'm a small business owner. Like we all live on sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes there are lean months. And hopefully you have a good financial planner that's working with you so you understand what you have to do. But yeah, if you're making that money at somebody else's expense and not really serving them, it's not, most of us that went into business for ourselves because we wanted a different kind of life. We didn't like what we were asked to do by some boss. Yeah. But now we're our own boss and we can choose, are we going to be an abundant boss, a confident boss, an understanding boss, or are we going to be a taskmaster who says we have to hit this revenue goal every month or we're going to die?
Yeah. And this is, for me, I can't speak for anybody else. For me, this is about me growing as a human being. That being a business owner helps me grow as a human being because I get the opportunity to use my amygdala, my lizard brain. It's a good thing. Fear is a good thing. It will keep you from dying. But to use that and then to also go beyond that to figure out, how do I get to a place where I don't have to live in fear? I don't have to constantly be wondering, can I pay next month's mortgage? Serve, don't sell. That concept puts us into the long-term view of life and working with clients, and helps us figure out how to solve these things for the long term so that we stop having to fear how to pay next month's bills. I've seen it in hundreds, maybe thousands of business owners who have gone through our fast track program. You get to where you're operating on long-term goals and objectives and long-term decision making, and that long-term highest best interest of the one being served. And all of a sudden, over a period of 6 months to a year, you can relax about whether you have to pay your bills because it's actually coming in now in a much more steady increase. But it's a hard thing to get people past, because I'm not the only one to say this, but one of the biggest issues we have in business and in life is that we make most of our decisions based on what will work for us right now. Short-term decision making. Mm-hmm. Instead of
I don't know if you've read the book Atomic Habits, like one of all the craze books right now, and I've read it. And he talks about how we have this unrealistic fear of what these strange things that might happen in the short term, but we don't pay attention to the things that are very likely to happen in the long term.
That could be good for us.
Right. So we're scared we're going to die in a plane crash, right? That's very rare. And we're not scared that if we eat a pound of sugar every day, we're going to get diabetes.
Right.
Because because we're in that like, oh, what could happen today as opposed to what's very likely to happen. And I think it can be applied to business too, right? Like, what if I can't pay my bill next month?
Sure.
That's a scary thought. But the longer term thought is, what if I build a business that makes me miserable and my clients miserable? And I think the second is a worse outcome.
Yeah, Jennifer, as you said that, what came to mind for me is it's the difference between potentially being successful and being fulfilled. You can be successful, you can make a lot of money and be successful and not fulfilled. And I know quite a few people who have that emptiness in their lives. Hey, I have a big boat and an empty heart.
Yeah.
And you can have both. You can have the big boat and you can be fulfilled if you do this in a way that works for other people. We're almost out of time here. I just wanted to mention one other aspect. There's so many things that go with Serve, Don't Sell, but one of them that has worked so well for me in helping me remind me how to work with people is it's really a marketing concept as well, but it's the idea that we should meet people where they are, not where we want them to be. And that's really tough for business owners. I love my chairs. I love how I make my chairs. I want to tell you about how I make my chairs and where I got the glue and how I make the nails from scratch. Nobody cares. Meet them where they are. They want a comfortable chair that they can put in their will that'll last for 2-3 lifetimes. And it's part of Serve, Don't Sell, is find out what actually meets other people's needs.
Yeah. And that's part of our job as a communications and marketing firm. People will often call us, can you do our social media? Sure. Do you need social media? And to what end? How much is it for this package of a press release? We don't do that. Yeah. We sit with you. We figure out what your goals are as a philanthropy, what your goals are as a nonprofit. And then we help you determine the best strategy and then the best tactic. Because otherwise we can sell you whatever you want, but if you knew what you wanted, you knew what you needed, probably wouldn't be calling communications firm.
Beautiful. Well, we're out of time, but we can definitely help people figure out how to work with you and experience your abundant life and your abundant business. How can people get a hold of Fire and Bliss and find out how to work with you?
Sure. There's 2 really easy ways. First is go to our website, fireandbliss.com. As simple as it can be. And there's a contact us button there. Push it. And the real people answer it and get back to you quickly. The other one I would say is if people just want more good information, but they're not sure they're ready to start working with us, and maybe they want to see if they want to work with us, is to follow me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Stapleton. At least twice a week, we're putting out good, free information about communications and marketing. So that's how I would love to be connected with people.
Brilliant. Well, we just scratched the surface. And as always, we left people with more questions than answers. And I'm okay with that. We stimulated and we asked people to be curious, and that's what we want. Jennifer, this was a joy to have you on. We'll have you on again for some other things, but look forward to seeing how you continue to grow your business and live in a world of abundance.
Thank you, Chuck. It's great to be with you.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow@cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.